When we first start working with the client, it's really important that we do our job up front and we gather as much information as we can before we actually start designing and building things. So I want to break down in this video the brand discovery process, and I'm going to share some of the questions that we like to cover, why they're important, and so let's get into it. First of all, this is a step that I think a lot of people might think it's boring and it might not even be worth doing. We all want to get down to the implementation. We all want to start building things and creating things, and I love doing that stuff too. But if we skip this step, then we're gonna essentially be building something that we might not even be building in the right direction. That's why it's so important to make sure that you have the vision and the goals defined up front and that you fully understand what the business does, their values, and all that stuff. So that's where we like to start. And some of the main questions, right? We'll start looking at if a business has a existing website. If we're doing a redesign, then we'll start looking at their existing URL, seeing what's working in their content, what can be changed, what can be improved. And then we also want to start getting a good feel for their brand. So start looking at the copywriting, the messaging, start looking at, are they a founder-led company? Of course, we also need to ask what kind of services they specialize in. And we want to learn about their core values. So not just for putting it on the website, but it also gives us a chance to learn about them and see, where our partnership might mesh well together. If we have certain values that align, that could help us during the process. Then step 2 is really learning about what brands inspire them and what other businesses they draw inspiration from. So we ask them, what website URLs do you really like? What other competitors do you think are doing a good job? How can we leverage what's out there already to start putting some pieces and some ideas together for what your website or your design or your branding might look like. Step number 3 is really digging deep into what's gonna make your messaging and your marketing resonate with users. So we start asking about your unique selling proposition, your USP. This is something that is so important. It's often overlooked, especially by small business owners. But if we dig deep and we ask enough of the right questions, then eventually we can get to finding, 1, maybe 2, sometimes even 3 different core things that help you stand out from the market. They help you stand out from your competitors. As soon as we can find that makes the rest of the process so easy because we can start to really lean onto those pillars, right? If we don't even know what makes you stand out, how are we going to make your website stand out? How are we going to make your copywriting stand out if we can't first articulate what it is that you bring to the marketplace that's different and that's unique and that would make somebody want to engage with your business? And this applies even to, companies that might be selling a service that is not unique in its own right. That's totally okay. Our agency, there's a ton of agencies that do this type of work, but we have found that when we found what we're great at and what is unique about us, then that's what engages people. That's what makes them want to work with us. And it repels the people that are not aligned to that, and that's okay. So we want to find that for your business as well. One way to do that is, like I said, by asking these key questions. Another way to stand out and create a unique proposition on the market is by working on your offer. So you want to create a unique offer that looks different than other people so that people don't just come to you and think that the only difference between you and the next guy is the price. Up next, this is super important. We have to understand who your target audience is. There's no way around it. Every marketer talks about this stuff. And the reason why is because if we put out messaging that speaks to everybody, at the end of the day, we're probably not going to be speaking to anybody. people are not going to feel connected. They're not going to feel drawn to what you're saying because it sounds generic and it sounds like you're just shooting in the dark. Then as we get closer to wrapping up the brand discovery, some of the other questions that follow are a little bit more on the technical side. We ask about some keywords that you might want to rank for. We also start asking some questions, like we'll ask you if there's any questions that you often get by your customers. If people are constantly coming back to you and asking the same question over and over again, oftentimes we can help the customer journey and we could take some load off of your team by including that information in the website. So if we can answer things in the FAQ section, or if we can make a video around a certain thing that they keep asking about, then that can help us with just the overall implementation of your website and making things better for your business and for your customer. Then lastly, as the final step in this process, before we start doing the actual implementation of the copywriting and of the design, we will finish off by asking things, trivial things about your business. So we'll ask for your case studies, what kind of clients you've worked with in the past, how many clients, what kind of results you've gotten for them. And these questions can even help us come up with ideas for your unique selling proposition, right? These can be things that help you stand out. And so that's where we like to top it off. And then we'll take a lot of these learnings and we will start using that in some of the copy that we'll start drafting. We'll start using that in the research that we do for the design and for the branding. And then we'll take it from there. So that's pretty much it for the process. So if you're thinking about maybe making a website either by yourself or by hiring somebody, I hope this video was helpful. It can help clarify the upfront work that needs to be done so that you set yourself up for success during the development, the design, the copywriting, and all that good stuff. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.